Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about President Trump and his now famous press conferences, which have recently been becoming controversial since the reporters in there have been acting kind of crazy. We've covered this a number of times as the reporters have tried to pull got you questions on not only the president but his newly inducted press secretary named Kayleigh McEnany. But we're not here to talk about her today. Today we're focusing on the president versus the reporters once again. He recently had a new confrontation with an old foe of his. Weijia Zhang is a reporter we've mentioned here before. She works on CBS and had her own little story a few weeks back when she confronted the president and had a little tiff with him before too. She also complained about the president and his workers calling this health scare and the virus something offensive. So she's obviously an anti-Trump person. She's very biased and very questionable in what she has to say. And today is no different. Today she's going to ask another very stupid, very silly question that's going to turn the whole press conference on its head. What happens after that is pretty obvious, but essentially the reporters almost try to take things over, and then Trump tries to control the room but is forced to walk out after kind of just giving up on things. These girls are taking over there. These female reporters are super entitled, super big babies who think they run the show, even though clearly this is the president's press conference. He's in charge. He's the one answering questions, and not to mention, he's the one leading this whole country. So with that said, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into that video. I got it over here on the YouTube ready to roll. Let's see what they have to say.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Said many times that the U.S. is doing far better than any other country when it comes to testing.
Yes.
Why does that matter? Why is this a global competition to you if every day Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases every day?
Wow, okay, not to cut off the president, I'm sure he has a wonderful response too, but he already was making faces and already I was feeling the same way. I'm like, what kind of ridiculous question is this? This is totally silly. First of all, it has nothing to do with anything important. She's not asking about facts. She's not doing actual reporting. She's not saying, hey, what about these numbers? What happened in this state? What's our plan with this problem? No, she's saying, why is it important that America is doing better than other countries? I mean, isn't that obvious? Don't we want to be doing better? We're all dealing with this crisis. So if America's doing better, if we have more tests, if we're taking care of things in a better way, that's obviously a good thing. Now, I can't understand, okay, it's not a competition. I've said that before on this show and in my private life too. Not everything needs to be a competition. And it's not like we're seriously competing. We're not going up on the leaderboard and saying, hey, we've got 2 points over Britain and we're trying to trail behind this country. And it's not a sports game. We understand that. But still, to recognize and acknowledge the fact that America is doing better than any other country. We have the most tests. We have the most coverage. We're having the best plan. Granted, we have more cases than a lot of places, but there's other reasons for that too. It's not because we're doing a bad job. America is one of the biggest countries in the world. Now, I know people have corrected me on that before. That's a sort of general hyperbolic statement, not like saying literally we have the most landmass. That goes to Canada or Russia. And we also don't have the most numbers of people. We know China and India both have like 1 billion people. We have 1/3 of a billion. We have 300 million, but that's nothing to scoff at. We're still on the top 10 of countries as far as population, as far as size. But when I say big, I mean the most important, the most influential, the biggest name. We are the world's superpower. So you have to consider that when you bring in this crisis. Everyone in the world wants to come here. We have all these travelers, all these people vacationing, trying to work here. That brings in the virus a lot quicker. So dealing with that, dealing with this very international modern society, a very globalist situation. We have people coming in and out, goods shipping in and out from all over the place. So this is why it comes here. And this is why at places like, I've actually heard a really ridiculous liberal try to bring up Belarus as a better example to America. Like, I guess Belarus is a country that's handling it somewhat better numbers wise, but that doesn't compare at all. You can't compare a smaller country with a few million people and like no business, no international commerce, no travelers. Like that's like comparing Russia, one of the biggest countries with a lot of people, to like a very small island country, like say Bermuda or some other small island, Jamaica. You can't compare that. You can't compare an island to a massive landmass. And basically, I think you guys get the point. The comparisons, we're the biggest country. This is why we've had to deal with it a lot. But we're also dealing with it the best. So, of course, we want to be doing the best. Like, we're not saying, oh, it's this big competition. We're not playing basketball, but to do better, to handle it better, that's a good thing, and we should want to do better. And that's why this reporter's question is just absolutely ridiculous.
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world, and maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes, behind you, please.
Okay, so Trump has another great response, another good point. I think I love this answer because, yes, a lot of times it seems like the press and the liberals are trying to pin these deaths on the president and his administration, but that's just fake news. You don't blame the cops when you got robbed and you had to call the police to help you investigate. No, you blame the person that robbed you. And in this case, you don't blame the person trying to help with the virus, the president, the government, his officials. You don't blame them. You blame the person who gave you the virus, which Trump just mentioned, that Far East nation. They should be asking them about these deaths. They should be holding them accountable. But I really highly doubt this reporter lady is going to go there for a number of reasons, which I'm sure you could guess. But another thing to point out about Miss Wei Zhejiang is, look, she's taking her mask off. Isn't she supposed to be really worried about people dying? Isn't this supposed to be a serious issue that, warrants all this stuff thrown at Trump, all this, oh, it's not a competition, we don't talk about that, blah, blah, blah. But look at her taking her mask off right here. She's pulling it off on her own. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure it's the end of the world either, but it's very incongruent. She tries to label this thing as very serious. The reporters and the press want you to think the virus is way more deadly and scary because they're fear mongers. They want to use this fear to get people on their side to turn on Trump. So that's why they constantly overhype it, constantly make it sound worse and worse and worse. And I know it's bad. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying there's an issue. There's no conspiracy here. There's no cover-up. There's no fake news about the virus happening. But the fact that it's still getting overhyped and they're focusing on these deaths and the way they're going about it, the way the girl is trying to say, oh, we're the best, but does that really matter? Like, yes, it matters. And if we were the worst, or even if we were like third or fourth behind someone else, you better believe these same reporters would bring that up.
What, sir, why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question like that.
That's not a nasty question.
Please go ahead.
Why does it matter?
Okay.
Okay, so this reporter's trying to make it a racial thing. Like, telling her to ask China is telling her something racist, I guess, because she's Asian too or something. I mean, she does happen to be from that country, and you can take that information as you will, but she's trying to make it a racist thing, just like how she tried to make that whole thing before. She's the one that was initially saying Trump's administration called it the Kung flu, and she tried to spread that fake news. She also spread other fake news about other questions. Like, this is a very biased, terrible reporter, very bad actor, horrible, spoiled. You could see her doing this again. This is the reporter Trump had to say, calm down, sit down, take a breath. She was coming at him real aggressive last time too. So she has this kind of chip on her shoulder. She's trying to shame Trump. She's trying to bring down a president she doesn't like personally. Trump is just kind of brushing her off. He's probably annoyed because she's been doing this for months and months now. She's just terrible, and she's always cutting him off. And right now she's doing the same thing. Trump tried to move the thing forward, saying, oh, let's talk to this person's turn. And then now she's cutting him off, saying, why'd you say that to me? Are you trying to be racist? Like, oh, you're racist now. Like, everything's racist to her, when really Trump is just saying, let's talk about where this problem actually came from. Ask that country, because they're the ones that caused it. And in truth, I think the fact that she's even in this room is kind of race baiting. It's CBS putting her in there because of her background, trying to tempt the president to do something. That way they can make this claim. And she's trying to jump on it too soon here, because there's no racism here. There's never racism. Trump's not racist. None of us are that offensive. But they're still trying to bounce that onto him. And that's what's going on here. She's jumping the gun.
Okay, anybody else? Please, go ahead in the back, please.
I have two questions.
No, it's okay.
But you pointed to me. I have two questions, Mr. President.
Next, please.
But you called on me.
I did, and you didn't respond, and now I'm calling on
Sorry, I just
the young.
Dude, what is up with these chicks and entitlement? I mean, the president has the floor. He runs the show. This is his press conference. He can let anyone speak that he wants. Now, like he just said, he gave this lady that's standing a chance. He called on her, and then she let the other chick cut her off and take over. She basically passed it off to him because all these reporters are working against Trump. Like, this is a concerted effort, and now she's arguing with him too. First it was the other lady sitting down arguing with him, now she's arguing with him. What kind of professionalism is this? Where are these people trained? Where are these reporters coming from? Like, can we get some kind of quality assurance, quality testing here? I mean, I'm not saying they have to kiss the president's butt. Like, no one's saying you have to love the guy or hate the guy or whichever. Just be respectful. Speak when spoken to. Answer or ask a question when it's your turn. If you pass it off to someone else when it's your turn, that's your loss. Trump can move on. And she keeps trying to say, oh, you called on me. Yeah, well, he's not calling on you anymore. That's the point. He could call on you and then he could say, nope, not anymore, and go to the next person. This is his press conference. If you want to run a press conference and have it a different way, you go ahead, but this is the way it has to be. And I just don't get the entitlement here. I don't get why these girls think they can just take over, and it's really frustrating. I don't know if you could tell. I'm definitely getting slightly agitated, possibly triggered.
Young lady in the back, please.
I just wanted to let my colleague
Okay.
finish, but can I ask you a
Ladies and
question,
gentlemen,
please?
thank you very much. Appreciate
But
it.
you called
Thank you
on-
very much.
Very, very ugly ending to that 1 hour appearance by the president.
Okay, that's a good point by CNN. This is from CNN's coverage, and they're trying to spin this against Trump. So this is kind of one of those two movies kind of situations where we all could see this video and say, hey, these reporters are acting crazy. Why are they trying to take over the press conference? Why are they so entitled? And it's obvious to us why Trump walked away. In addition, as Wolf Blitzer here just said, Trump was at the end of an hour show, an hour press conference. So he was already on the tail end, ready to wrap things up. This wasn't like a cut short thing. An hour is plenty long. He's doing like an hour a day on this stuff already. So it wasn't cut short. It was cut off because time was already wrapping up, and these reporters thought they could take over. They can't pass the questions around to themselves. They can't say, hey, I got called on, so I'm going to pass it to you. And then, oh, now I want it back. Now I want it back to me. And then Trump calls on someone else. Like, that doesn't work that way. I'm sorry you weren't taught this. I'm sorry you don't have any kind of rules or regulations. You don't know how to be a respectful person. But this is you getting some adult lessons. This is the real world. Trump's not going to stand up for your silly nonsense. These girls are very offensive, very immature, very honest, just dishonest, and they're manipulating the information, the situation. That's why I think this story is really interesting, really funny. Back to the two movies part, it's like we said, we see this one thing, and then the press is trying to spin it off like, oh, Trump stormed off, like he can't handle it. He's losing his cool, guys. Look at him, he's losing his stuff. But it's like, did you even see the clip? Did you see those girls? Did you see the one Weijia chick taking her mask off, cutting him off again? Exactly what she got in trouble for last time. And then the other girl trying to take over the floor when Trump passed her on her question that she already passed to Weijia. And then the third person he called on even tried to pass it back to the second person. It got really ridiculous. It's totally out of control, totally insane. Kind of funny though. Kind of entertaining. I think this reaction though is really good. This is a reaction from The View.
You know what, Whoopi? We all know now that he's a racist. He's a disgusting racist. We knew it when he attacked Mexicans. We knew it when he defended, and we know it when he goes after China and he goes after a Chinese American girl.
This is, oh my God, this is just getting insane. I mean, I knew The View was bad, but they just pushed 3 fake narratives. They pushed the negative stuff from the Mexico comments from the election. Then there was the thing from August 2017 that they just commented on, fake news. That was the Fine People hoax that's been debunked many times. And now they're trying to blame this on China. Now it's act like Trump is racist against China, and they're using that exact pawn thing that I was talking about. The whole reason that Weijia Zhang is in that press room is so they can try and call Trump racist. That's why they keep putting these other people in there, other Asian reporters in there. They're trying to get him to bait him. They're trying to get her to ask a dumb question to get Trump to snap and to call him racist. But he hasn't, I wouldn't really say he was being irrational though. They act like he's snapping and going crazy, but really he's just being normal and standing up for himself. He's being a proper defensive man, standing his ground, alpha, just not letting people mess with him and take over his show. At the end of the day, there was nothing racist here. The only thing we saw here was how biased and terrible the media is. We got that CNN coverage, Wolf Blitzer going off, trying to spin this off in another way. Now we got Joy Behar here on The View saying, oh, he's racist, 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 racist. If I say racist over and over again, that makes it true. But that's not so. That's not going to fly, and that's not going to happen in my country. I'm here to stand up and tell you guys what's right and what the truth is. And fortunately, our president is one of those people. He's a great guy, doing a great job defending us from terrible things coming from afar, and they still want to blame him for it, which I think is rather ridiculous, but also not too surprising after what we've seen in the past years. That about wraps things up on today's video. Thanks for watching this episode of No Bullshit. Make sure you comment all your thoughts on everything below. Do you think Trump was in the wrong here, or were the reporters trying to take over his press conference? And what do you think about Anderson Cooper and the CNN people, Wolf Blitzer commenting on this, Joy Behar going on a racist rant? Tell me your thoughts on all that below, and thanks for watching again. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed what you saw, and everybody, you guys have a great day.